So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the Soundcore Aero Fit 2. In case you're wondering, this was sent to the company, a brand new product. And I gotta be honest, I was very surprised. Open ear headphones are on a rise in my opinion. And obviously maximum comfort is what matters. And just like the picture on the box, surprisingly, this works with glasses and without glasses. And I'm truly grateful for that. Anyway, let's talk some quick specs before we unbox this thing. You do have high-res audio, which is wireless. You have a turbo bass option, IP55. Wireless charging, thank God for that, because I was getting tired of having to plug things up most of the time. You do have 10 hours of battery life on one charge, 42 total in the case. So to put that in layman's terms, 32 into the case, 10 hours in the actual headset for a total of 42 hours. Now, keep in mind the IP55 is strictly for the buds themselves and nothing else. The case is not water resistant. You also have some decent drivers right here if you flip it over. 20mm by 11.5 drivers, which is awesome, and it does make a difference when it comes to the quality of music, especially with the volume. You have 4 mics with AI calls, so we're going to test that out, and that's pretty much it right here. So there are quite a few features. Oh, also I forgot to mention, you do have multi-point on this device also, which we're going to show you guys how to go ahead and sync that. So you have a plethora of different features that work very well for this device, and well, we'll talk about the asking price toward the end of the video, but for right now, let's get right into this review and not waste any more time. So right outside the box, do the two things that are actually going to matter. It does come with its own charger cable, which is a pretty short cable, but right here you have the startup guide and of course the earbuds themselves, which we're about to talk about. These things are a beauty, by the way. Not a huge fan of the green, but I do like it. Does come in multiple colors for the person that doesn't necessarily like the olive green color. Now right here it shows you how to sync the buds. You just open up the case, you flip it, and you're good to go. Don't worry, we're going to skip over this because I actually have a section to show you guys how to do the multi-point and how to sync them regular. This does have touch controls, which we're going to talk about in a different section, how to actually customize it. And if you flip this over in the back, it actually shows you how to wear the buds. You'd be surprised how many people don't necessarily know how to wear their earbuds. And again, we're going to go over all of these things in a couple sections moving forward. Keep that in mind. Now, the buds themselves is what you're here for. Let me get this out of the way so we can just see the beauty of the buds themselves. Now, let's just start with the back. You do have USB-C right here. This little button doubles down as a reset button. So if you hold this, you can actually factory restore the buds just in case the left side doesn't sync to the right side if you have some type of connectivity issues. I doubt that's going to happen. Me personally using them for the last couple weeks, I haven't had any connection issues whatsoever. So it worked out for me. But of course, location, where you live and things like that do determine how well buds work, especially when it comes to the type of device that you're using. So just make sure you have a pretty, not necessarily up-to-date phone, but good enough. Bluetooth 5.0, 5.2, something like that. Anyway, the wireless charging part is on the bottom. So if you place this on a wireless charger, you should have no problems whatsoever charging the device. Though you do still have the option for USB-C, which is always greatly appreciated. It's what I normally do. USB-C on the back. Now here we go. So as soon as you flip this case open, you have the left bud and you have the right bud. Now, on the back of it, you have the little right symbol right here. I might have to switch this background. It's a little dark. But you have this little right symbol right here on the back of it. And then you have the little L symbol on the back of this one for the L side. So left side and right, even if you try to confuse these two, put them back inside the case, you shouldn't have any problems because they're not going to fit. You have the right side only fits right, left side only fits left. But anyhow, let's talk about the actual design right here. So you have these speakers right here, which is, you know, to be honest, this is really, really comfortable. Now, this entire piece right here is silicone. Granted, you can twist it. It is pretty flexible, though it does flex back into the same spot so that, you know, longevity. Some people beat up their headsets, constantly drop it. It's nice that they're paying attention to actual design because this feels super comfortable, by the way, too. And this is a guy that's wearing glasses. It's actually very, very comfortable. Now, if you look at this, you see this groove right here? This actually bends. Hear that click? Let me put it a little closer. I don't know if you can hear that click. But you can actually bend this to fit it depending on the size of your ear. Now, I'm one of those people where I like attention to detail. Normally, these type of buds aren't very flexible at all. They don't have any type of hinge whatsoever, so it's like a one size. If it fits, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But Soundcore is definitely looking to make sure that they can get as many customers as possible. And I got to say that I actually use this all the time. I found my spot, obviously. What I suggest is to put it in your ear and actually move it. But look how closed off this is. This is a person that has a smaller earlobe. And for people that have a larger earlobe, you can click it once, click it again. Was it? I think it's like 3 clicks. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 3 clicks. So 3 size comparisons. You have this one. 1. So it's on a slight angle. 2. I clicked it twice. And 3. And also, if you look at the sideways, notice that the bud is actually turned inward. So it's meant to fit into your ear comfortably, which it does. So you don't feel like it's the ear. Put it this way. The hook behind the ear is going to ease the tension of this being inside of your ear. And this being hooked the way that it is going to place it directly either in your ear canal so that it can rest against it so that you don't have to feel the weight of the bud itself. But surprisingly, the bud is actually very, very lightweight too. So just kind of keep that in mind. But so far, I really like the way they look and the way they feel. And we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to show you guys how to actually sync this and sync the multipoint. So the sync process for this is actually very, very easy. All we're going to do is pop this lid open like so. The left bud and the right bud are going to communicate with each other. They're doing that right now. We're going to go to Bluetooth. Just follow this prompt, and we're going to wait for it to actually pop up. Because right now, the headset should currently be in syncing mode. There we go. Aero Fit 2. That's simple, that easy. Now, if you're using an Android device, it might ask you for your contacts or call log, which you have the option to press yes or no. But if you're using an Apple device, once it's in sync mode, you just go ahead and tap it and it's automatically connected. If you follow these steps, you should have no problem whatsoever with syncing the earbuds. So now I want to show you guys how to do multipoint. Now you will need to actually have the Soundcore app downloaded. All right, here it's going to go ahead and say connect. Doing that right now. Alrighty, so now that you see that everything's connected, all you have to do is hit dual connections right here. When you tap that, it has different options to be connected to different devices, as you can see. Now, the history is that this is also connected to a Nintendo Switch and my Motorola Edge, the phone that I'm recording off of, my everyday driver. You have the option to switch between 2 of them, which means that that's how multipoint works. It only works between 2 devices. You could hook up multiple devices and toggle which ones you want the multipoint to work for that day, or you can just use it as is. Now, we're going to hit connect. It's going to automatically put this headset back into pairing mode. While it's doing that right now, it's back into pairing mode, as you can see. We're going to go ahead to the settings of the Steam Deck right here, and I'm going to show you how it works with the Bluetooth. So I'm going to tap Bluetooth, show all devices at the bottom to pair. I'm going to give it a second. Here we go. It actually says Aero Fit 2 right there. Going to go ahead and tap that for you guys. Here we go. Aero Fit 2, as you can see. And it is connected. So it's right now it's connected to the Aero Fit 2, and it's connected to this also. So as you can see, what does it say? Steam Deck right there. Let me get the glare out of there. It says Steam Deck, and it's currently connected to the iPhone, and that's the 2 that it's going to switch between. You have the option to change the which devices you want it to actually be switched to. Pretty cool, pretty easy, very simple to use. Follow this, and you shouldn't have a problem whatsoever with syncing the device to multiple devices. So I was really surprised about the fit and feel when it came to these buds. You know, I'm a person where I prefer like the C30Is, the Liberty 4 Pros, the A30Is, stuff like that. And ear hook headphones never worked well for me. I wear glasses, so I'm about to put them on in a second. So let me just show you how to put these guys on. So this is the bud right here. Remember, this part is completely adjustable right here, as you can see. This little click part right here. And, you know, all you got to do is just put it on your ear like so. Boom, you're good to go. And it's that simple. And when you do the other one, which this one I'm going to leave in the open position all the way out, put on my ear, done, that fast. And just make sure that it's behind the ear, securely behind your ear. Now, for the people out there that wear glasses, believe it or not, these work very well with my glasses. I actually have dents on the side of my hair and side of my ear. I have dents on the side of my ears, and I also have like these cuts on my nose because I've been wearing glasses for well over 30 years. So let's just keep that in mind. So I had to find a pair of glasses that's actually comfortable, and I had to buy another pair now. These are my backup pair. And these actually sit on top of the buds right here. And it's super, super comfortable. Like, you know, as a glasses user, when you placed headphones on your ear and you put the glasses on top, normally it presses deep and down into the ear groove and causes all forms of irritation. But because this headset has silicone around here and it's extremely lightweight, I don't have that issue whatsoever. I also want to show you something else. So if you notice, look at this ear. This is on the widest setting right here, where it's sitting on the outside of my earlobe. And when you tuck this, remember this part is adjustable? When I adjust it, it actually sits in my ear right here, and it relieves any type of tension. Hold on a second. Song is playing in the background right now. You probably can't hear it. So anyway, I accidentally hit the touch features. But yes, it sits comfortably in the ear in a way where it feels like zero fatigue. So the behind the ear, I don't feel any fatigue, and in the ear, when you adjust it this way, I don't feel any fatigue. Now, I personally think that using it in the closest setting is probably going to give you the best sound, depending on the size of your ears. But if you're a person out there and you're like, well, you know, normally these headphones don't suit me, I placed them on my wife's ear, she has very small ears, and she said it was very comfortable for her, and she had no problem with them whatsoever. So this is coming from a person that probably has, I'm assuming, regular size ears, and coming from someone else that has very, very small ears where most buds don't even fit in her ear whatsoever. So I like them. They feel good. I've used them for hours at work, at home, just walking around in general. And again, I don't really feel any fatigue whatsoever outside of, you know, if I blast music and I have a helmet on my head, because I do have a scooter helmet and things like that, that may press a little bit against on the side of my head, on the side of my head. And that causes like aches and marks with my glasses. That's just unavoidable basically. But outside of that, the buds themselves seem to really conform to different ear shapes. And I can honestly say that it's one of the most comfortable buds that I had in this market, though I only use about maybe 10 of them. So that's saying something, but I do like the way they feel. Let's put it that way. Alrighty, so we're going to go over this Soundcore application now, and I'm going to show you some of the features. So as soon as you open up the app, like I always say in these videos, it is completely optional to register for the Soundcore application. You can press skip, though I do suggest registering because it will remember a lot of your settings. Anyway, it shows you the battery life of the actual buds themselves, which are currently in the air, and it also shows you the battery life of the case itself, which is at 60%. So I definitely appreciate that. So for anyone asking, through the Soundcore application, you can see the exact percentage of the case itself and the buds. Awesome, awesome. You do have some sound effect profiles. You have 3D sound, which is optional. You also have right here where it says default. It normally ships on the Soundcore signature sound the moment you open up the buds. But you do have the option to do different equalizers that you see right here, which my suggestion is to always just test them out to see what's better for you. What worked for me maybe work differently for you. You have the custom EQ right here, which allows you to go up and down and change whatever it is that you want. Of course, if you sign into the Soundcore application, it will save those settings for you. But if you don't, no big deal. You just have to do it every single time you switch devices. It does remember your EQ settings if you're using the same device, but if you switch it without actually registering for the app, like you switch to iPhone 17 from the 16 or something, you'll have to do it over again if you don't save it. So just kind of keep that in mind, but don't keep it on default for right now. If you scroll a little bit down, we have controls right here. So you have left side controls and right side controls. Now the actual answering buttons, which is double tap to answer or hold 2 seconds to decline, that stays the same. You cannot change that whatsoever. Keep that in mind. But you could change the single taps, double taps, triple taps, and tap and hold when it comes to audio, like what it does for different songs, changing volume up and down, things like that. So as an example, if you hit single tap, you have volume down, volume plus, next, previous, pause, and play. Double tap, it's going to give you the same thing, but it adds voice assistant to that. Triple tap, same thing, and tap and hold is going to be the same. And just for video purposes, we're going to click on the right side, tap, same exact features for all of them. So remember, this headset doesn't have active noise cancellation. It doesn't have transparency mode, primarily because it's an open ear concept design. So you can hear everything around you. So all those extra features aren't there. The only downside I can say is that it doesn't have the wind reduction feature, which I really, really love. But most open ear headphones don't have that. I don't think the technology is quite there yet. So I'm not going to fault Soundcore on that. That's not their fault. It's perfectly fine. Now you have the dual connections, which I did show you guys earlier in the video how to actually use and sync dual connection. If you have multiple devices, you could switch between, you could toggle between 2 of them that you want to simultaneously connect, and that's how the multi-point function actually works. But for the person that skipped to this part, just go back to how to sync. Everything is in timestamps, and that'll show you how to actually use the multi-point function right there. You do have a dedicated gaming mode. Now, for anyone interested in this, I have tried games with this without the gaming mode and with the gaming mode, and to be honest with you, I didn't have any issues with sound. I didn't have any skipping. I didn't have any dropped issues with Bluetooth. Everything worked perfectly fine. So if you're a person out there and you're not too, tech savvy to use the application all the time, you still should have a very good you shouldn't have any connectivity issues whatsoever. I don't think I really need to say more about that aspect. Now, when you hit the cogwheel up top, you do have the option for balanced sound. This is more so for the person that may have like issues with hearing issues, where your left ear may be more deaf than the right ear. I can't tell you how to balance that. This is something that you would manually have to do to make sure the sound sounds good to you individually, because that's based on your hearing ability. But it is nice to know that they do have that customization. So for a person that's hard of hearing, this headset will work for you in this regard. You have sound mode, which is you have the option between LDAC and the regular connection. Now, if you use LDAC, you will get better quality of sound technically, but the connectivity may differ depending on how your commute is. Now, personally, when I use this, I didn't see an issue. I didn't see much of a difference whatsoever in terms of connectivity. I think this Bluetooth does very good for multiple devices. And keep in mind, I used a Steam Deck, a Nintendo Switch. I used a Motorola device, which is what I'm currently doing this screenshot on while we're recording this together. And I did also use an iPhone 16 Plus, and it seemed to work just fine for me. But, to each their own. I do believe that certain model phones will affect the quality of the LDAC itself. You do have the option for the tone prompt, which will basically let you know when you're tapping keys and stuff, it'll make a little tone prompt, like a doo-doo-doo, a little noise to let you know that your touches are responsive. But if you're used to the touches and you don't really like the sound, you can always have the option to turn it off. You do have a low battery prompt. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never let any headset, for the most part, die to the point where I heard a low battery prompt. I normally just pop it back inside the case. But for the person out there that may have this in for too long and you forgot, guess what? The low battery prompt will help you. You can turn it off though, completely optional. You do have auto power off. What that does is it gives you the option where if you use the headset for a certain amount of time, it will power off on its own to conserve battery. I turn that off personally. The battery life for this is very, very long, so I don't really see a point of that. But some people just, want to make sure that their device is turned off so the Bluetooth will automatically disconnect, just in case they leave this sitting on a desk or something like that. Completely optional. You do have Find My Device. Now, for this part, I'm going to show you. Now, I'm going to take the left bud off right now, and I'm going to go ahead and press this, and it's going to beep for you guys in a moment. I don't know if you can hear that beep right there, but I put it close to the microphone. So that's how loud the noise is going to be if you decide to use Find My Buds, which is a really cool feature. I believe that most Soundcore products, old and new, that work with the app have the Find My feature, but outside of that, it's pretty good. It's taking me forever to put this back on. Hold on. I should probably took my glasses off before I put it back on, but it is what it is. Anywho, lastly, what else do we have? You do have an option for the widget, this is more so an Android device feature where you use the home screen. You can actually use the widget on the outside to do customization and things like that. Completely optional. As long as you have the application itself, then the widget is in fact available. And lastly, we have firmware update. Now, I do believe that by the time these buds are released, it might be another firmware update for new users. But as of right now, it's completely up to date. Well, I actually have the internet connection off right now because I don't want any notifications popping up on this section. But outside of that, this is a full application support. It works very well in my opinion. I think it's pretty good. And for the person out there wondering, this is how it's going to be. So just make sure that you download the Soundcore application because you will need it if you want full customization of your device. So let's get this part out of the way right now. The volume on this works very, very well, whether you're listening to it at 50% or 100%. Normally, I tell people not to listen to things at 100% because you start hearing sound leakage and it can be very loud and the music suffers. But with the Soundcore Aero Fit 2s, I don't have this problem whatsoever. Now, keep in mind, I never had the Aero Fit 1s. So when a company sent this one, this was my first time using a open ear. Well, it's the second time. I had the V30Is. But this is my first time using the Aero Fit models, which are more expensive. And I wasn't sure what profile to expect from an open ear headset. And surprisingly, it worked very well. Very, very well. So if I'm listening to songs like Trippie Redd, whether I'm listening to, he made a song called Topanga, whether I'm listening to some rock music, let's say System of a Down, Lamb of God. Like there's different songs out there, profiles that I wanted to try to see how well this played. Now, granted, it didn't have that oomph and bass that you would expect on a closed ear headset, obviously, or over the head. And I don't expect that from open ear. But if we're just talking about just the quality of bass and sound for everyday use, scootering, riding bikes, I'm at work, it was very comfortable. I like the way it sounded. And even though I listened to it at a higher octave, I didn't feel like the sound was leaking and it had any problems whatsoever. Like I had to turn it down because I might get a headache or something like that. I didn't have that issue whatsoever. Now, with that being said, when it came to traveling outside, going to and from work and things, yes, I was still able to hear cars going past. I wasn't really able to hear people's conversations and things like that, but I did ride around with 100% volume turned up outside, and it did do a very good job of blocking out a lot of the outside noise. But again, this is an open air headset. Just because it can do it doesn't mean that that's what the headset is specified to do. It means that it just has the capability of doing that because of the quality of the drivers. Now, let us talk about the gaming aspect. Now, I played Call of Duty on this. I played Resident Evil Remake and a bunch of different games. It might not be showing the exact game that I played at that moment of the review, but I tried different ones. And the sound profile, again, worked very, very well. There was no skipping in any of these games when it came to the gunshots, the background noise, feet walking, zombies howling, whatever it was. I just didn't feel like this headset had any lag latency whatsoever, which, to be honest, is 2024. We shouldn't have lag latency in headsets to begin with. And the funny part is I wasn't even using LDAC at first. I was just using the regular setting, and it worked perfectly fine. So it just goes to show that even if you don't use all the features of the headset in terms of how to enrich the sound the way that you want, you're still going to have a very good and pleasant experience with it. So it worked very, very well. Now, for the gamers out there, we got to talk about this aspect real fast, and I will move on to the next section. When it came to games, I was playing Call of Duty Mobile. And if for anyone that has ever played a Call of Duty game or Call of Duty Mobile or any game that requires like an FPS shooter, you know that you need to be able to hear the footsteps around you. You need to be able to hear the UAV. You need to be able to hear when you shoot someone that it connects so you know that you got that kill. You don't need to hear that delay because it's going to second guess you. All of those things were possible with this headset. So for the gamer out there thinking, I just want to use it for my all-around everyday stuff, gaming, talking, everything, music, it is possible to do that. And I don't think you'll feel disappointed in the quality of the headset. Now, granted, again, if you're trying to completely drown out the entire world, it is not capable of doing that because it's an open ear headset. But if you just want decent drivers, comfortability, long battery life, I do really suggest these because they feel good and they sound good. And I was really, really surprised because I'm more so the Liberty 4 Pro guy. I like the C30Is, the clips and things like that. And because I wore glasses, I was a little skeptical at first because, again, glasses is kind of a no-no for over-ear hook headphones. But surprisingly, these are super, super comfortable. And, kudos to them for making a good product. A little bit about my experience with using this headset on a daily basis. Now, they do have 4 microphones inside, of course, with AI. Now, if you're wondering what does that mean, let me explain it to you. Now, I've traveled, went to work, home, use these inside my private office, different things like that, and just different sound profile locations. And I can honestly say that to me, the people that spoke to me said that I come out very clearly on their end of the phone. Now, what this headphone kind of suffers a little bit, only because it doesn't have that wind protection feature. Not all the Soundcore products have that. And this is open ear, so the technology is still experimental to a certain extent. But anyway, when it came to phone calls outside, because I do, travel on a scooter, have the windows down, things like that, it did pick up a lot of the background noise to the point where the person wasn't really able to hear me, but I was going 24 miles an hour. Now, when it came to walking or jogging, my wife said she had no problem hearing me, though on the windier days, she did say that I kind of just came in a little bit muffled from time to time. So keep that in mind. If you're going to use this in the heart of the winter, as long as you have a winter hat or some type of hood covering the buds themselves, like over your head, and there's less wind hitting the microphone itself, it's going to come out very, very clear. If you're indoors, I think it sounds pretty good. It does do a good job of picking up noises around you. So for some people, that might be a good thing. Other people might think that's a bad thing. But I did hear like background noise, conversation pieces, and things like that during the phone calls. My wife said it did pick up a lot of the, chatter behind me. But at the end of the day, as long as the microphones sound good and clear, this is a sample for that. I want to leave it to you guys to decide how you feel about this particular product. So what I'm going to ask you guys today is, what do you look for in a headset that makes it worthwhile to you? Let me talk to you about what I look for. One is battery life. You got 10 hours of battery life with the actual earbud itself on one full charge, which means you can go through a full shift as long as you're not speaking 10 hours. A 10-hour battery life is actually the listening time. Talk time is a tad bit lower than that. When it comes to just comfort, these are super comfortable. And this is a guy that has struggled with glasses over the year. I wore glasses since I was like 3 years old. So, you know, I've had to wear it my entire life. Most headphones don't work well for glasses users, over the head and behind the ear. But times have changed, you know, comfort. Things are actually made for us and people that actually wear glasses. So that's a plus. This has wireless charging. You have IP55 sweat water resistance. Granted, none of my headphones get drenched at all for the most part, but it is nice to have just in case something will happen. Keep in mind, it's just the earbuds, not the case itself. You get 32 hours in the case along with the 10-hour battery charge, which gives you that total 42 hours. You have the drivers, which sound really good. The music actually sounds pretty good for an open ear headset. Now, granted, like I said before, if you own an Anker product, whether it's a Liberty Ear 3s to 2s or whatever, you may say, well, you know what? This sound doesn't sound as good as those. Well, yeah, of course, because it's open ear. But that's the point. How many open ear headsets have you come across that actually sound this good with this comfort level where you can actually turn them up and it doesn't feel like the music is bleeding and causing all types of problems and ear aches and things like that? I like these a lot, and I do suggest them for anyone that is interested. What I will also say is that, you know, it is a holiday season, so whether you get them now or you get them later through the Soundcore website or through the links that's in the description, try it out. You never know. Like, I'm not a huge advocate for just companies like Samsung, Apple, and stuff. Yes, they all make great stuff, but once I found out about Soundcore some time ago, like years actually, I always stuck to these headphones. Even before I YouTube, I was just like, I love Soundcore products. And my wife is like, oh, they're not going to get anywhere. And I said, I'm telling you they are, because of the quality of the products. And here we are today. Anyway, that's all I got. Like and subscribe like always, guys. And I'll see you all in the next video. Till then, take care, be safe. What I will ask is, if for anyone interested in knowing more or any tests on these, I will try to do the tests. I am not a professional reviewer, but instead, this is a hobby that I do. And I'm very grateful for all the people that watch these videos, because you got me where I am today. So, you know, much love. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Peace.